Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and to Johnnykin and the Goblins. This one is Marjalaine and Chesme, the cat girl. Interesting title. It seemed very strange to Johnnykin that, wherever he walked, great crowd of shining ones was always circling round and round him, so that he could not help remembering how he had been shown that a light cast on a looking-glass or a pane, which has received millions of little invisible scratches by being often rubbed, always seemed to be in the centre of a circle of little gleams. He was separated from his friends, and was just beginning to wonder what to do, when all at once there stepped from the procession which swept so grandly about him a young girl, who looked at him for a moment, and then said, "Don't you know me? I am Marjalaine de Montfort." Johnnykin remembered her at once as the beautiful little lady in white marble on the old tomb in the church, where she knelt on a broad tablet. But there she was, only marble, with a few remains of gilding in the embroidery of a dress, while now she glowed and blushed as if she were a kind of very delicate northern light, like it were waving and flitting through her features. "You know," said Marjolaine, "that you are the only real boy who is here. I used to be a real girl myself once, but that was, ever so long ago. If you would like to go outside," she added, bit timidly, "you might have better fun than you find in all this horrid noise." "Thank you," said Johnnykin. "I would so much like to walk out with you in the moonlight." "Ah, you must do something more dashing than that," said Marjolaine, smiling. "Would you do something very bold for a lady? For me?" Indeed I would," said Johnnykin, who had never in his life seen anyone half so beautiful as this girl, or with such a sweet manner. Marjolaine bent her head a little, and, looking at him with a droll smile in her lovely eyes, said, "There were 3 brethren out of Spain who came to court fair Marjolaine. Fair Marjolaine was far too young. She had no skill in flattering tongue, and so to her each knight did say, 'We still return another day.' Now Johnnykin shall be my knight, and with those Spanish brethren fight. And if you fight and conquer too, I'll come o'er a hill and dale to you, and you will never fight in vain, if you but think of Marjolaine." "It is all like an old storybook," thought Johnnykin. It did not seem in the least strange to him that he should be told to go after adventures and fight for a young lady by way of amusing himself out of doors for a few minutes. He only said, "I will do anything you ask, but will you be so kind as to tell me where I'm to go?" "Oh, just follow Chesme and Marjolaine. Here she is." As she spoke, there came to them the queerest creature Johnnykin had ever seen. At first, it had a pretty girl's face on the body of a great cat. Yet while he was looking, the whole changed very quickly into a girl, and a very wild gypsy girl too. But in a few seconds, she had a cat's face, and then the body became a cat's. But she was scarcely all cat before her head and neck became those of a goose, and so she went on changing changing and changing to and fro, and then an entire goose, and then to something else. At times, half one animal, half another, and then a whole one. What a droll being it is, to be sure, said Johnnykin. Oh, you mean Chesme, said Marjalaine, as if Chesme had been the most ordinary creature in the world. Chesme is a dear good thing. She'll do anything or turn herself into anything to oblige me. That is to say, anything you know except a mouse or a fox or whatever don't agree with her. Here, Chesme, she said, show this young gentleman the way. And she whispered to Johnnykin with a pleasant little smile, be sure and know me again when we meet. Won't you? Dear me, I'd almost forgotten something. We must all be at the great meeting when it begins, and that will be in 10 minutes. But never mind. Just take this ring. Every time you turn it, it will make a second seem an hour. Don't forget. Marjolaine was gone as she spoke the last word. If you'll be so kind as to show me the way, he said to Chesme, who indeed stood by, like a great goose she was. She began at once to change to a goose cat, a cat rabbit, a rabbit ferret, and so on, until she was a girl, and a very fine girl too. She made these changes so rapidly that as fast as she threw aside one form, another took. Johnnykin could still perceive the old ones, at first distinctively, and then vanishing. If I don't happen to be a girl when you speak to me, said Chesme, you must wait, you know, till I come round to it. Come on. What a beautiful large cat you are, said Johnnykin. Is that the kind they call Persian? Yes, said Chesme, very much pleased. We are the finest cats in the world. I come from Persia. I was born in a fountain, and Chesme is the Persian word for me. All over that country, and Turkey people show you fountain that are inhabited by Chesme cats, which are only seen by moonlight, and then appear as beautiful girls who smile all the time and then vanish quickly into other forms, as you have obviously seen me do. Why, mother's name was Empusu. She was a Greek. Ah, you ought to have seen a change. Saying this, she went on very rapidly, with Johnnykin at her side, leading him by the hand through the gloom, until they came out into full moonlight, and to a very broad ditch, on the other side of which rose a high and very thick hedge. Are you good at jumping? She asked Johnnykin. Pretty good. Then follow my lead, cried Chesme with a laugh, and changing into a cat, she made a clear leap over the great ditch, and hitting the hedge in the centre, she seemed to almost vanish into it. Well, what are you waiting for? Johnnykin heard her cry from the other side. Why don't you jump? Hurry along. Johnnykin hesitated, and just beside him was a milestone, and as he looked at it, the milestone seemed to take the face of an old labourer. It's nothing if you ain't afraid, master, said the milestone in an encouraging voice. Give yourself a good fling now, only don't go too high. That's a man. Hep, hep, 1, 2, 3. And with 3, Johnnykin, sure enough, went flying. I may as well try, he thought. And try he did. And that so hard that he went like a skyrocket, clear over the edge, high in the air, and came down like the stick on Chesme, both rolling over and over, she being at the time a goose. She began at once to go through her changes, and when she was a girl once again, because she had to remember, said, Don't try so hard next time. It's enough if you only wish it, you know. You should only try hard when something's after you, such as a fox or a dog or a hunter or a poacher. Just then they came to a tree. Chesme said to it, I want to find the dark tower. All right, replied the tree. Right up you come, and then go straight forwards. Chesme turned into a cat and flew up the trunk and called to Johnnykin to follow. The tree was very tall, an oak, with a straight and smooth trunk. Well, what are you waiting for? Said the oak, as if astonished. Can't you walk on the smooth road? Don't scold him, cried Chesme from the tree. Jump now, quick. I'm sure I don't know how I'm to go up, said Johnnykin. But, gentle as he was, he had plenty of pluck, and he knew he was expected to follow Chesme. So with a bound, he flew at the tree, found himself up in the forks in an instant. Now, follow me, said Chesme. They were walking along a road in the dark, and she was holding his hand, and little by little there came more moonlight. I wonder where on earth, or out of earth, I am now, said Johnnykin. But it's a riddle, I suppose, without an answer. Do you know anything about riddles? Cried Chesme very quickly. Oh, how I wish I did, and how I wish you did. I can find out the answers to a great many, though, Johnnykin replied. Oh, that's all nonsense, said Chesme. Anybody can find out an answer to a riddle. What I want is to find out the riddle to an answer. Don't you know how it is here in Goblin Land? We poor things begin by being stones, then vegetables and fish, and then animals. Then they give us riddles to find the answers. And oh, they're 100,000 times harder than any you real boys and girls ever heard of. Well, after we've found them all out, we become what I am now. Human part of the time am I, animal the rest. Then they give us an answer and tell us to find the riddle out to it. Now I've been trying for years to find one out. The answer is the year, and I may show that 4,000 riddles to it, but none of them will do. Now if a real person were of his free will to help us, it would be allowed. But we goblins mustn't ask to help one another, or from anyone else. Let me hear one of your riddles, said Johnnykin, who was very much interested. Certainly, this is my best one. Our riddle master says that it is all right, but 3 words. 12 men, very old, 6 hot and 6 cold. Some 30 children own, others have 31. To one we 28 assign, though sometimes he has 29. Oh, I can see what is wrong, cried Johnnykin. At least, I think I do. What is it? Said Chesme very quickly. Why, you begin by saying 12 men very old, and I have often heard it said that the month of March is a woman. Can you prove it? Asked Chesme. There's an old fairy tale which says so, replied Johnnykin. Then it must be true, cried Chesme, delighted. Yes, once upon a time there was a traveller who came in the night to a lonely place among some rocks, where he found 11 men and a woman sitting round a fire. And the woman had a dog, whose head was like a lion's, but its body like a lamb. I see, said Chesme. It came in like a lion, but went out like a lamb, and looked like one of those shaved French poodles. Yes, that's the way it behaved too. And they all began to talk about the weather. It was in March, you know, and the traveller said most people abuse the month of March, but for my part I like it very much indeed. All the year depends on March. When the woman heard that, she smiled, and from that night he always had good fortune, especially in March. When he was attacked by robbers, there came a great storm and rain, which washed his enemies away. And when he was poor, well, there came tremendous wind which blew down a rock, and he found a pot of gold. And when he was cold, the sun shone and warmed him. At last, one day, he fell into a river and was drowning, really drowning. But someone threw him her long hair and drew him ashore, and he saw it was a woman he had met among the rocks with the 11 men. And she said, "Do you know who I am? I am the month of March, and I've been good to you because you spoke well of me. Now, if March is a woman, your riddle ought to begin like this: 11 man, a woman old." And I'm going to leave this part here for now, guys, because we've already gone over 15 minutes again. I apologise, but very long stories, these old stories. But thank you for listening. We'll continue when we come back with Johnnykin and the Goblins and find out where Chesme takes him. Many blessings.